feel that you have the copyright to go and, publish it everywhere, you better have the permission. That's all I'm saying, is that you have to have permission to do any of that. Lunch with them, lunch with them, lunch with them, lunch with them. In order to get the most out of their advertising dollars. Today, we welcome Lindsey Tracey and Andrea Di Domizio. Tell me if I said that right, Andrea, when we get started. Anyways, that's not a great way to start it, right? When you say your guest's name wrong. But anyways, that's the way we roll. Kelsey, can you play a sponsor, please? I want to thank Jeff Schick Legal for sponsoring this episode of Lunch with Norm. You've probably heard on the podcast about Amazon suspensions. They're very real. It can happen at any time. And when it does happen, how do you get out of it? How does the little guy like you and me get out of these suspensions without paying an arm and a leg in legal fees? This is where Jeff Schick Legal is here to help. For a very low monthly retainer, for only $89, get access to Amazon attorney Jeff Schick. That's right. You can sit back, relax, enjoy that cup of coffee while listening to the Lunch with Norm podcast, knowing that you have an advocate and a partner in your business success. But wait, just mention Lunch with Norm and receive 50% off the first 2 months. Get the protection you need and visit jeffschick.com today. That's JEFFSCHICK.com. Now let's get back to the show. Welcome, Lindsey and Andrea. How are you, ladies?
Great. Hello. Thanks for having
us.
Andrea, I'm so sorry.
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
That is hilarious.
I tried my best. I tried. Kelsey knows that I'm not always the best with names.
You know what, Norm? At least you could get mine. Mine was easy.
Okay, yeah.
You got mine. One out of two.
Everything.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. But we've tried for a long time to bring you on, and we're so excited because this platform is so unbelievable, and the outreach it can do for micro brands. As you know, I've been trying to do this, and I've got this challenge I've been trying to build and learn the platform. And there's a lot of A/B testing, just like you would do with an Amazon brand. And that's what we're constantly trying to do. What's the hook? My son, actually, he's a musician, and we were talking to him the other day, and he said, he said, oh, how many views are you getting? I said, well, my most has got 1,000 and I'm getting like 400. And he goes, oh, I just got 100,000 views. And I went,
no way.
What?
Good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. When Kelsey, gets on, he does a great job, but he doesn't go on. And I'm seeing him in the background kind of rolling his eyes. But
Kelsey will have to watch your videos.
Oh, they're pretty good. Anyways, there's so many questions that we have for you today. And why don't I just start with this? What are brands overlooking with TikTok and social media in 2023?
Yeah, that's an interesting one because it can go in so many directions.
Yeah.
When we think about TikTok specifically, though, in the space that we're currently at, I think what people are overlooking is the fact that we have an audience that is so highly engaged, and it really isn't a social media platform. Norm, you've probably heard us talk about this a few times already, but we are an entertainment platform. And that's because of the way that people are using the platform. So when we look at time spent and how they're sitting and watching content and not being able to, be distracted by a second screen, it is that high level of engagement that people on the platform are doing, and it's mostly similar to entertainment. So when we think about what people are overlooking, it's that value that highly engaged audience has to offer. So when they're sitting there, like I said, you can really only watch TikTok when you're on TikTok. You can't multitask. It's very, very difficult to multitask. So you have that undivided attention, and you have that opportunity to get in front of the eyes and ears of the audience. So taking advantage of that And they're ready to discover products. So getting new products in front of them is a piece that is so important. And actually, I think it's about 15% of all product discovery right now is happening on TikTok. So it's happening because people are sitting there and, staring at the screen for a movie's worth of time. And they're ready to learn about new products. They want to learn about new things just in general, but then also purchase. So on the flip side of that, they're not just discovering, they're buying.
That's interesting because yes, I have heard you talk about it being an entertainment platform before, but I bet if you ask most of the listeners, they probably wouldn't have said that. And now that they hear about it, it's, oh yeah, of course, it's obvious.
Exactly. I know. It takes a minute, but when it clicks, it does make sense, right? Like people are literally spending an hour's worth of time on TikTok. And I find it myself, like instead of before bed watching, a show or a movie, I'm spending an hour watching TikToks. So it's that engaged audience that is really unique and separates us from, traditional social. We have that engagement of entertainment.
And I do want to thank you for having my wife watch 4 or 5 hours of TikTok every day and ignoring me completely.
Amazing. 4 or 5. That really brings our averages up.
There you go.
Yeah, I was going to say that to Lindsey's point, we're at this very unique intersection of, I say, entertainment and shopping. We call it like shoppertainment, where you can entertain users, and we'll talk to creative and what makes really great TikTok creative. But you get to entertain these people, teach them about not just your product, but like how your product is going to change their life. You bring in the emotion, you bring in the storytelling. But at the same time, they can click on that ad and make that purchase right away within that session or within a later session, depending on what your strategy is. So I think it's just really leaning into what is so unique about our platform is what people are missing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And why don't we talk about that? So brands are micro brands. A lot of Amazon brands are, of course, micro brands. How can they increase their, and this might sound like the obvious question, right? But how can brands increase their visibility on the platform?
Yeah. So this one, I mean, it can be approached in 2 different ways. So there's the organic side. So, growing your follower account, posting regularly, all of that. But then on the paid side as well. But when we talk to both elements of our platform, the most important thing is creative. So you'll hear us talk about this a lot today because creative really does drive the performance on our platform. So whether you're posting organically or you're using paid ads, creative needs to be where your focus is. And that's definitely a shift in terms of thinking based on what we're used to as marketers. But definitely investing the time into creative will help to increase that visibility on the platform. Like our audience rewards good content. So if they're being entertained, they're engaged, they are learning something, they will spend more time, they'll comment, and then that just expands the reach of that content. So that would be a key way. And then, underlying that to guarantee getting that extra visibility would be paid ads. So that's really the only way to make sure you are getting in front of your audience. And then the performance based on your paid advertiser or advertisements will be based on the quality of that content. So I'd say focus on content, focus on your audience through paid advertising, and make sure that that content is super strong.
It's so important. I know we've had some people on the podcast before, and they've been talking about copy and content, and they just shared some of it, and it's, oh my gosh, this is so good, so well written.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a 5-minute spiel. I mean, it's a 30-second spiel, and you sit there and go, oh, I get it. And this is why this, creator is costing a little bit more than if I did this myself.
Yeah. And I think to your point, I think sometimes we overthink it as well. We think through it to, it has to be the most unique thing that we've ever heard of. But sometimes the simple content actually performs really well. Another tool to inspire people in terms of, getting those pieces of content out there, whether it's copy, music, hashtags, all of that. We do have a bunch of tools now. So there's one called the Creative Center. I don't know, Norm, if you've checked this out, but it might be good for your TikToks as well. But you can basically see what's trending in terms of like top music, top hashtags, top ads, to see what is performing really well. And it has a bunch of filters and things like that. So you can narrow it down to like your industry and region. And but it's a really good place to get a source of inspiration for content.
Well, I know on some of the content that I just provided, I used one of your filters, and I ended up looking like Brad Pitt, and my views skyrocketed. I have no idea why, but they did.
No idea.
You already look like Brad Pitt.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you. Brad Pitt with bald, old, and with a beard, right?
He
Aged
only
a little
wishes.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about ROI? How do you really get the best ROI for your brand?
Yeah, that's an intense question, Norm. How do we make money on the platform? So I like to tell people that I work with, and I've worked with hundreds of different brands, getting them launched and scaled on TikTok. I've been there 2 years. I've been at TikTok now. So in TikTok life, I think that's a minute. I've seen a lot of brands driving for ROI. And I tell people first and foremost to let the system work for them. If you're a TikTok user, which it sounds like you and your wife are, you know that our platform is extremely good at serving the right content to the right person at the right time. So how do we get this system to work for us? Map out your objectives, map out your goals before you get started, and be super specific to these goals and objectives, and make sure that you're measuring to these objectives to make sure you're continuing to optimize towards them. I compared our system the other day to like ChatGPT. In order to get really good answers out of AI, you need to put in a really great question. So, if you just say like, I want general success, you're going to get out a not great result, or, a scattered result that's not measurable. If you say, I want to sell this type of bracelet that I know moves really well, I want to sell it to people in the US, and I want to drive a return on ad spend. If you can input all of those levers into the system, that's when you get the system to work for you. That's when you get at those answers. That's where you start to let the algorithm teach you about your audiences, teach you about your products, and how users might act differently on TikTok. And then from there, you have that test and learn mindset we were talking about, where you can continue to like integrate new products. We're always rolling out new products, or test new things.
I've never thought about it comparing to prompt engineering. And now that you said that, that's so important. If it's garbage in, it's garbage out. And just like ChatGPT, you can just write something. I was talking to Kelsey about this today, about just writing something into ChatGPT, and everybody's receiving these same responses now. You could tell when it's just written, it's very generic. And by just like you said, creating this the prompt engineering for TikTok, that's great. So then you kind of zero in and you're more specific on your marketplace. So great idea. Never really thought about it that way.
And I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't talk to creative as well. Like, again, we will circle back on creative so many times, but we say that creative is responsible for 60 to 70% of your performance. So when you build out those goals and KPIs, reflect them in your creative. And I want to hear like creators, users, whoever's talking in the creative, I want them to talk to those goals. Like if you want somebody to go to your website, check out the website below if you want to learn more. If you want someone to buy a product, like you got to get this product today, check it out, it's on my site. We're a platform about authenticity, about realness. So if you want users to do something, tell them to do something.
Yeah. And it's so important, to Dre's earlier point about making sure that we are super clear on the goals in that creative sense as well. Because if you are more upper funnel brand awareness, your messaging should be very different than if you are trying to drive sales. So calling that out and being super clear in advance before you go into actually building out campaigns, building out creatives, be clear on the objectives, and then adapt your media strategy and your creative strategy based on that one goal that you're really trying to drive.
One of the things I took away, remember where we met at the conference in Toronto?
Yeah.
Scott Cunningham was there, and
Yep.
Scott was talking about his formula for success, and it can apply 100% to TikTok. And it was really simple. He calls it the TBIF strategy. And I'm just thinking about this now. We did a podcast with him. So if anybody listening that's interested, check this out, because I think it would be great. It's your hook, gets people to listen.
Yep.
And then in any order, you can talk about either testimonial or what people thought, the brand itself, what it's all about, the transaction or the offer, and then the CTA, and you can blend this any way that you want, and that you can do in seconds. But it's hook plus TBIF. And if you check that out, or if you just check out Scott Cunningham, he's got just some great videos about how to do this and how it applies to everything, including, I think, TikTok. So just a couple of thoughts.
Yeah, no, Scott's framework there does overlap with a lot of our best practices for performance-driven creative. So like the hook, the CTA, making sure you talk about the values. That is, it's very interesting to hear how that lines up.
Yeah, and the hook is so integral. I always say, like, your first job as a marketer is to get users to watch the content. If they don't watch the content, they're not going to learn about the product. They're definitely not going to convert. So in the first 3 seconds, you have a very short period to tell them why they want to watch this video. And it doesn't need to be about the product. Like, it doesn't need to be, this razor is going to change your life. It could be, I'm getting a much better shave on my face. I'll tell you these 3 products, and your product could be one of those 3 products. Like, so many different ways, but like using emotion, storytelling, but that hook is so important. Like, why am I sticking around?
And I guess if any of the listeners are saying, look, I'm not a copywriter, I don't know this stuff. I always found that sometimes my best copywriter is Dr. Google. You just type it in there, and what are the best 10, what are the best 20 titles or hooks. And the other thing that I forget the author of the book, very famous, but Words That Sell, and or Phrases That Sell. And I just have those books right in my drawer. I still paper, I flip through it, and just gives me some great ideas at my fingertips.
And the new search tool, TikTok, as a digital marketer, I get a lot of content around digital marketing on TikTok, and a lot of the content that I've been getting is like, here are 10 hooks that you can use tomorrow. You can go right into the search bar and search up, marketing hooks, conversion hooks, and you can start to watch content on TikTok from experts that are sharing their content there.
The next video I'm going to do. There we go.
I love it.
That's a good idea.
There we go.
And I mentioned the tool earlier too, like going on our creative center as well to get inspiration. Like, there's so much in there, and you can see like what is working really well. So check that out. It's a good.
I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, because I didn't know about that. I thought that's going to be a great idea. I am going to check that out. So we just talked about the Creative Center, but what about some e-commerce features to help sell products and services? Do you have any ideas on that?
Absolutely. I've got a whole list ready to go for us. So I think I mentioned we're coming up on we're about 3 years old in North America, but we've had some incredible rapid growth over the last few years. So we have rolled out hundreds, thousands of different products. Huge focus in the last couple of years on e-commerce. So lots of different products to talk about. And I'll hone in on test and learn again, because something that worked 6 months ago might not be working now. Something that didn't work 6 months ago might work now. We might have a new tool. So we also we're going to plug a lot of our public sites today. We have the TikTok for Business Center, where you can learn about all new products. You can see product updates. We also have our TikTok for Business Help Center that I go in and I kind of treat like Google, where like if I want to learn about a product or how to create a campaign with these new products. I just plug it in and it has full instructions, videos, such an amazing tool. I send it to my partners all the time. But product specific, there is one product I wanted to talk to today. So usually when I talk to strategy, I'll always split it into like media strategy and creative, because I will always hone in creative. Again, it's so important. But on the media strategy side, we are rolling out right now. So depending on the region that you're in, depending on if you're working with a TikTok team, it's called Smart Performance campaigns. These have probably been in the market a few months. They're not generally available to everyone, but again, depending on your region, they might be available. I would check out the TikTok for Business Help Center. But these are our automated campaigns built on machine learning to help you drive your cost per acquisition and your ROAS. So these are minimal input. You're going to build your campaign. You're going to set your budget. If you need to target a country, fantastic. You can input your creatives, some raw creatives, some text, and then the system does it all for you. So I always say it's a great place to start off, especially because, you know, the system will start to teach you about how audiences are interacting with your brands, what video creatives are working. And then from there, if you want to get a little more strategic, absolutely listen to the system, get your reporting, start to build from there. But Smart Performance is such a great kickoff point.
Yeah, it's really good as well if you're resource strapped. I know how busy everyone is as well. So all you really have to do is enter in what your objective is, your country, and your creative. And then from there, the algorithm will take over. And we all know how strong and powerful the TikTok algorithm is from our personal use. So leaning on that to really find the goals that you've set out for the system. So yeah, if you're strapped for resources, it's a really good tool to test out.
Yeah.
We'll just let the listeners know too that we are going to be making a list of what we're talking about in today's show, so you can go and have access to it. Yeah, that's great. Like you said, with the algorithm already picking up everything. It was funny on the last podcast, very last podcast. I'm a person that builds out personas, and I take a lot of time. And then the person, another Torontonian, was on and saying, "Well, that's just a waste of time." Somehow I feel working with TikTok, you could probably cut out 90% of the time I spend on it, because the algorithm will pick it up. You know, I would think, and I'm just assuming here, but what are your thoughts? Is it better to take time, build that persona, and then try to implement it all? Or does this new tool actually do a lot of the heavy lifting for you?
It should do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Putting it in into the system and then looking at the reporting to see what is working and what isn't, versus spending all your time up front trying to figure it out on your own, allowing the algorithm to test for you, and then you can learn based on that and then adapt your strategy going forward. Would probably be a bit of a time saver.
I bet. I just noticed something that Rad put in, and just for everybody that's listening today, we've got Kelsey and I put together a ton of questions for TikTok. And so what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on those questions today. But I did see something that Rad put in, and he's talking about affiliate programs. These tools that we're talking about, Rad, it's not an affiliate program. You can go and you can use these programs for free. It's not like you're going out there and we've got a link that you pay $29 a month for. These are tools that TikTok has put together for you to use.
Exactly.
Now, yeah. Correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're helping everyone on their TikTok journey. These are everything we've mentioned. Yeah, totally like commission and fee free. You can just sign up as a business.
So there you go, Rad.
We're here for you, Rad.
There you go. So look, we're already at the bottom of the hour. We've got a bunch of questions still to go. Just wanted to let our listeners know, if you do have comments, put them into the comment section. How are you using TikTok? Are you using TikTok? Let us know what those results look like. And we also have a really great giveaway today. If you're interested in it, if you're a first-time listener, we have a show or at the end of the podcast called hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. My wife just came down for coffee, so of course coffee comes first before I say anything. But thank you.
That's very important.
Tag 2 people and you'll get a second entry. And why don't you tell us what the giveaway is today?
Amazing. Yeah, so the giveaway is actually a 30-minute consult with our e-commerce expert, which is Andrea. So Andrea works with hundreds of advertisers, taking them from scaling from small businesses to medium-sized businesses, and in cases moving into enterprise and size. So she's been through the journey of a lot of different businesses across the e-commerce space. So in this consult, Andrea will do a deep dive into your business, get an understanding of your advertising objectives, and be able to recommend what the best path forward would be from an advertising side on TikTok. She'll be able to share a ton of best practices, tips, and she is the queen of resources. So she'll be able to share out some of the resources to help you get started if you haven't already on the platform.
Yeah, and it could be getting started, like it could be from zero, or if you're already running, we'll take a look under the hood and see what we can recommend to help out. But yeah, my goal at the end of the day is to help brands hit those ROAS or CPA goals and scale.
So just think of it for a second. Anybody who's live, you've got a real bonus today, because if you ever heard of us ever having a social platform or an entertainment platform, come on, and you're actually going to talk to them directly. So you're not going through a middle person or a liaison or an agency. You're actually talking to the platform. So this is priceless, to be able to talk to Andrea. So anyways, if you're interested, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you get a second entry, and we'll do that at the end of the podcast. Now, Squire, could you please hit that button and let's have a word from our sponsor. I want to give a quick shout out to an incredible group of sponsors to help keep this podcast running. The Lunch with Norm podcast would not be possible without the support of the following sponsors: Post Purchase Pro, Clear Ads, Jeff Schick Law, Rebate.com, Honu Worldwide, Digital Blacksmiths, Netfluence, Extreme Power, and Startup Club. Now back to the show. All right, I do have to mention VAA. So this is our newest sponsor as well. We just haven't got them up on the banner because, I only pay Kelsey so much, and it's not a lot, and he just didn't get it done for the episode. So anyways, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about creators. So what are some of the easiest ways to find creators?
So on the platform itself, so obviously creators is a huge piece of our platform, and they are the ones who are on the platform every single day making content. So tapping into creators from an advertising perspective is obviously very valuable from an organic and paid side of the business. And we have a few different tools to connect with creators. So with our advertising business, we have 2 main programs that I'll touch on. TTCX, TikTok Creative Exchange, and then TTCM, TikTok Creator Marketplace. So if you try to keep those straight in your head, we have a lot of acronyms, but ultimately Creative Exchange will help connect you with third-party partners of ours that will either connect you with creators in the space to build content for you or repurpose existing content, but it'll match you with a partner that we have vetted that will be able to help you build the content and connect you with creators. Or if you want to take it more of your own route, connecting directly with creators through TikTok Creator Marketplace is a nice place to go. So this is basically a directory of I think we have over 800,000 creators on there at this point. Yes, across the world. But it's an opportunity as a brand, if you want to reach out directly to creators through there, you're able to do so. And then obviously from there, you can work out what that content could look like and make, the deal directly with the creator. So there's a couple different angles to connect with creators when it comes to building content for your brand.
And the creator marketplace is, again, free of any fees or commissions.
Yes,
You just sign
good call
into
out.
it.
Yeah. And then obviously you have to pay the creator directly. No one's
You have to pay the
going to
creator.
be working for free, but
But
to access
we just
it,
understand the importance of connecting our advertiser partners with creators. So that's why we've created this hub to make it easy to search, find out about their stats, their audiences, look at their brand and creative from before, reach out to them, transact with them, pull the content through. Like it's a fantastic tool to connect with creators. So there's lots of different ways to find creative for TikTok. And I think like when building out your strategy, I often tell people like, start to plan where you're going to get your creative. Are you going to make it in-house? Do you have the tools and resources to make it in-house? Do you have the creativity to make it in-house? I think we're a very unique platform in that you don't need to have high gloss, high polished, a whole studio setup, but you do need to have some time if you're going to make it in-house. A little tip that I tell to my advertiser partners when starting is I recommend having 2 to 5 pieces of creative per ad group to be changed out every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on ad fatigue. And then if you are running an organic presence as well, which I do recommend if the resources are there, I'd say at least 3 to 5 pieces of creative per week consistently on your organic. So start to plan that out and say like, do I have time to make this in-house? Do I have resources to make this in-house? If not, creators are such an amazing resource to go to. At the base of everything we do, TikTok is an entertainment platform driven by user-generated content. They are the celebrities, they are the stars. Reach out to them and get them to help with your content. And then to Lindsey's point, we also have lots of agencies that we work with that absolutely get how to make content for you. So just understand the lift of making creative, and then you can explore all of these different avenues to get creative either made for you or you're making it yourself.
Yeah, and I think it's really important just to state this as well. And I've talked about it before when we're talking about creators, is that once they produce and once you pay for the whatever they're creating, it's not free to use everywhere. I mean, this is so important, that creator content, this is how they get paid. If you're taking that content and all of a sudden you feel that you have the copyright to go and publish it everywhere, you better have the permission. That's all I'm saying, is that you have to have permission to do any of that. So yeah. And I don't like, one of the things you can use creator, somebody can create some content, user generated content on the platform, and you can use that content, but you just have to get the approval, right? I forget the process, but you just have to make sure that they are knowledgeable about that, so they give you the approval.
Yeah, so those are called Spark ads.
Sparks.
That's our
that's
form of boosting TikToks. So you can spark from your own business account. So, if Norm wants to spark his content, he can spark from Norm's business account. But also if you're working with a creator, there is a process in place where you can get them to allow your content. There's a branded content toggle that they'll turn on to make sure everything's above board. They're following ad policy. And then you can use that content and put dollars behind it in TikTok Ads Manager to spark that out. And we are seeing amazing success in lower funnel campaigns with using creator content coming from creator handles. So definitely recommend trying that out.
Great. Now let's talk about some mistakes. What are you seeing that a lot of brands are making?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that transparently over the last 3 years that I've seen is replicating other platform strategies onto TikTok. So that is something that, again, we talked about this earlier, like we are more so in line with entertainment. We are not a traditional social channel. So we do need to think of things a little bit differently when it comes to TikTok. So that is, as granular as campaign structures. Really, you hear me still? It said mute, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think your audio went funny. I think you're back.
Yeah, so making sure that we are
not just replicating other strategies onto TikTok, and really thinking about how to adapt for TikTok. So taking creative as an example, making sure that we are understanding what works for TikTok. And that can be a little bit of a crawl, walk, run strategy. So I'm not saying that, right off the bat, first time on TikTok, you have to start tapping into using creators. If you have the resources to do that, great. We know that that's going to drive the best performance. But if we need to take a little bit of a slower approach and test out, why don't you take those assets from other platforms, but adapt it and repurpose it in ways that it makes it feel like TikTok. So again, we have more tools to be able to simply do this, to add in music that's trending on TikTok, or voiceovers or emojis and things like that, to make it feel like it was built for TikTok. Because ultimately what we want is that when someone's scrolling through their For You feed, it doesn't pop out to be an ad. The best ones are the ones that just feel like they're another organic ad, and they're learning, enjoying, and being engaged. So you can adapt it as a first step, the crawl step. And then when you start moving forward and learning about your platform, your audience on TikTok, then you can start looking at building for TikTok, looking at ways to, repurpose existing processes and thinking about TikTok first. So making sure it's video-based content. We see brands actually, they'll be shooting, TV content or content for other platforms, but do a behind the scenes look. And they'll just take their phone and start shooting content for TikTok. So you repurposing that as more of that walk strategy, and then run is, jumping into creators. We know that that's where the best performance comes from. It's the most native, organic feeling. They have the trust with the audience. So we know that that's like the best step, but we totally understand that there's a few different approaches. So don't just replicate on other strategies or other platforms. Think about TikTok and how we can adapt, but there's ways to do it so it's not overwhelming from the beginning.
Can I share my top 2 favorite TikTok tools that are so easy to layer on top of existing creative? I'm very excited about these tools. Text on screen. Anybody who uses TikTok, pay attention to when you're watching TikToks and watch how your eyeballs follow the text on screen. So this is a great way not only to keep users engaged, keep their attention, but also deliver your key product messages. So I've seen heat maps of users following around, they are staring at that copy. So text on screen is so easy to layer on. You can do it in a few minutes, and such a great tool for your performance. And then my other one is voiceovers. I love a good voiceover. Users can be doing something totally different in the video. You're entertaining in the video, but you're also talking about your product. Or, you can test your video with different voiceovers, with different hooks. So again, such an easy tool where you can test different things like that hook or that messaging, or even different voices. So use your A/B testing to see which type of voiceover works better. So lots of ways to explore those too, but those are my top favorites.
And it's pretty simple to do too. In our TikTok Ads Manager, there's creative tools that you can do exactly what Andrea just said, like adding in some of these features that will make it feel more like TikTok, but it's super straightforward. I was actually in it the other day, just playing around with it again. And you can add on all of these features. You can add on sound, you can transition, you can cut different clips and put other clips in. So I was pretty impressed with the videos that I could put together in 2 minutes. But it is very straightforward.
It's shocking. I know when Kelsey and I first started to do this, it was, I've never used this platform. You mean I've got to edit it? I've got to do, and I got to, do this all while I have it in my hand. And it's, once you get used to it, and how to edit, how to go back. If you don't like that take, go to another. It's so easy. I'm lucky. And just like when you're on Amazon, if you don't understand the platform, or if you don't understand Walmart and you don't use any of the resources, well, TikTok's got a lot of resources, but I went out and I bought a course, and it helped me out so much. Like what you were talking about there, about the fonts, just making sure, the voiceovers. I'm experimenting with that right now just because of the course. And it's
Right.
so important. So I would recommend, if you want to spend some time. I don't know if Udemy has it, or the course I had was fairly extensive, but anyways, I check it out. And if you're still, not quite sure about it, just pick it up. And if you're not, go to a creator,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it is easy to do. It's just, it's like anything. It seems like it's overwhelming at first, but it's so easy. Even an old bald guy can do it. So how's that?
Yeah, one of the first things they made us do, or asked us to do when we joined the company, was to make a TikTok. And I'm like, I watch it, but I don't make them.
Yeah.
And I made my very first TikTok. And after you do it for the first time, like you said, you're like, oh, that wasn't that hard. But it's just that like, oh my, but I've never, I've heard really great things about our editing tools from people who do a lot of editing in the market. So go test it out. Try one. If you hate it, you tried. But I think you might love it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. The platform has made it very easy. But now, all right, so you go and you create, you've got even a creator to do it for you. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what's working for you. So let's talk a little bit about analytics and tracking performance. How do you improve that strategy?
Yes. Yeah. Super important. Of course, if we're investing into a platform, we want to make sure that it's working. So there's a few different angles to this. So one, I know we've touched on this a couple of times, but like hands down, understand your goals, what you're trying to do, so that we can make sure we have the right strategy in place to hit those goals, so that we're setting up the platform for success ultimately. And then from a actual measurement perspective, we actually have, again, a ton of different tools, but in-platform metrics are the easiest to access. These are going to be attributed obviously directly back to TikTok based on us having impact on their purchase journey. So making sure when you're in platform, going through, looking at your KPIs, so you can look at it across the board, whether you're brand advertiser, performance advertiser, everywhere in between, there's metrics that are customizable to your brand. Again, the tip there is just, it can get overwhelming. There's a lot of different cuts of data that you can do. So making sure you lean on those goals, you lean on the one or two pieces or KPIs that are important to you as a brand, and focus on those and use that as an indicator of success. So I try not to steer away and get distracted by some other metrics because we are optimizing towards that core goal. But yeah, there's tons of in-platform metrics to see, okay, is this campaign in platform working well for us? But if you want to get more granular in terms of your learning and learning about, is my video strategy, or sorry, my creative strategy working well for me? There's split testing. So you can look at different types of creative, different types of targeting, and then that will allow you to say, this strategy works better than this strategy. It basically splits the audience into two. You'll get that creative if you're in one audience, and another if you're in a different. So there's a couple ways to test your strategy from a creative targeting perspective. And then a couple other tools I'll throw out from in-platform perspective. They're actually relatively new, so video insights and then audience insights as well. So these are actually built into TikTok Ads Manager. So when you are running a campaign, you are able to see the metrics of your specific videos and deep dive into like each frame. You're able to compare different videos. You're able to see which one did perform across different metrics. And then audience insights, again, for that specific campaign, it'll give you a look into what your audience is interested in. So you might actually think that they're, this category or this, demographic based on previous research. But if you see something a little bit different on TikTok, you can adapt your strategy going forward based on those learnings. So there's a lot of in-platform tools that can work. But then obviously external tools as well to help validate that. So we know that there's lots of third-party attribution models. One piece I'll say there is just be cautious of the ones that are using last click, and just making sure that we're triangulating different pieces of information to make sure that we are capturing the full story of TikTok and their user journey. TikTok obviously has an impact across the board, so we want to make sure that we're capturing that and making decisions based on it. Oh, and one other thing that we've been seeing come up a lot with our advertisers as well recently is post-purchase surveys. So that has been something that really is telling, especially in this world of, every platform has their attribution models and trying to figure out what the best route forward is for your brand. Post-purchase surveys are interesting in the sense that you're going right to the audience and you're getting an understanding of what platform that person came from and what channel had the biggest impact. So we've been doing some very interesting studies with companies like eCommerce or Farrar to start understanding where we sit in terms of our impact on the user journey.
Yeah, I think sorry. I was going to say we're really great at prospecting. Like we're definitely great at converting as well, but our platform has a lot of deduplicated audience that you're going to be reaching and able to convert. It might not be the first time. So yeah, we're fantastic at prospecting, finding new audiences. So understand that whole journey and how you can measure that whole journey. I think that a last click attribution model, like it's so limited in understanding like where users first found out about you, where they wanted to learn more about you, and then maybe they went and put you into a search tool and found you that way. But how did they find out about you before that point in their journey?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think using all of these different tools, whatever tools are available to you in platform, third party, post purchase, to Lindsey's point, they help to tell that story of how the user came from finding out about you to making that purchase to becoming a lifetime value customer.
I had a consultant reach out to me, and I thought, oh, here we go. But he said, look, we're three guys. We just started out. I saw you on TikTok, and thought if we could just have a quick call. So I said, all right. So it lasted for about 45 minutes, and he told me what he thought about my TikTok videos, which I won't get into. It made me cry. But some of the things that he said, or like we were talking about before, the font, I wasn't using quite the right font. If you have a podcast going, or it's two-way conversation, showing the one person up, showing the next person up with the, just being able to follow what they're saying. But then he came back to my studio, and so Kelsey came over last weekend, and we kind of changed it around, or I think it was last weekend. And he said, try putting some color behind you, because it was just black before. Also, he says, you've got the little guy here, right? The Travelocity kind of gnome. Yeah. And that's Norm the gnome, by the way. That's actually its name, Norm the gnome. Yeah. So anyways, that's behind me. But then like cigars. So I like cigars. People go on my social, they see that I'll smoke a cigar here or there. That's my big vice. But they said, personalize it a bit. And so we've been experimenting with that, with the mic, without the mic. And this is the type of split testing that we're doing now. And I thought, wow, this guy was really great. And basically, I don't know what it would have cost me. The guy, was probably a tenth of my age, around 6 or 7. But anyways, he knew a lot about TikTok. But anyways, all he wanted really was a review. Could I give a review of the overall call? And I thought it was awesome that this guy could come and give me. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. He also told me something really interesting. I had my ring light straight. And he says, what was happening? It was cutting. It was just too flush. Like it was covering my face too much.
Got it.
Put it on a 45, and then you get the Rembrandt's triangle. And just doing that made a bigger difference. So just in the overall video. So these are just a few things that I've picked up.
Yeah.
But if you don't go and do the changes, you'll never know if it works or not. So we're just experimenting with that right now.
Yeah. Very cool. Test and learn.
Test and learn. That's it. Hey, I am down to my last question. And basically it's pretty simple. About guidelines. Do you have any tips for guidelines for creating sponsored content?
Yeah. So again, with sponsored content, we want to use creators. that makes sense to our brand, but
Yep.
I also want you to think outside the box. So often we'll see, a makeup brand will come and say, okay, we need beauty creators. Absolutely. Yep. Let's use like the creators in the industry that are the experts. But do you know who uses makeup? Everybody. Everyone uses makeup. I'm sure some people don't, but a lot of people use skincare, makeup products. So figure out what niches, what communities you can get into. Our platform is huge on finding your community. Your content is served to you based on what community you're part of. So I might be on Sticker Talk. I might be on Teacher Talk. Like there's so many different niches that people relate to. So an example that I thought of for a beauty brand was they had these like waterproof makeup products. And I'm like, who outside of beauty influencers or creators use waterproof makeup? It could be swimmers. I'm sure swimmers, maybe they're on camera after and they come out of the water and they want to make sure they have their concealer on. So like, let's get into swim talk. Let's see who's a swim creator and they can talk to how amazing this product works. It's not just going to talk then to the swim community, but people are going to see like this person is professional. I trust their judgment. They're authentic content. And they're using this product to the lengths of its capabilities and it's working great. So think outside the box, test, be different, shake things up is what I'll recommend for branded content with creators. And then on the policy side, I'll also say that branded content does fall under our ad policy. So on our TikTok for Business Help Center, you can find our entire ad policy that you can look through. So if you are looking to make any sort of branded content with creators, make sure that it does fall within policy. We have some content or some products that are prohibited or restricted or might be 18 plus. So just be sure that you're flowing within the rules when you are working with these creators making content. And then we talked about Spark ads. So once you do get this content made with them, the only way to control your distribution is by running Spark ads. So there's instructions again on Spark ads. If you go on the TikTok for Business Help Center, you can figure out how to put dollars behind those and reach your audiences in order to convert.
Very good. I'm going to just say, any last words? You know what? I'm still waiting. I think there's a big trend here. I want to see professional swimming competition with makeup. I want to see them out there in full makeup,
Right?
just as they start the race. Yeah. And then come out of the water.
Yeah, that would be a good ad.
There we go.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I see it.
Okay, last words. It's an exciting platform. Like I think Lindsey and I consider ourselves lucky every day to be working for a platform that we believe in so much. You have so much space. It's an infinite scroll where you have the user's full attention. They are listening, they are watching, and they're looking to discover something new. So for an advertiser, like that is a huge space for a user to scroll onto your ad. Like, what are you going to do with that space? So I will leave that up to advertisers. I think we've dropped a bunch of best practices that they can insert into that space, test and learn, and don't feel defeated if things don't work. Norm is trying everything, and one day Norm is going to hit like Kelsey.
Yeah.
He's going to get his 100,000 views. But yeah, it'll shock you what works or what doesn't work. So just, have an open mind, have fun with it. It's a fun platform with so much opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you start diving into like the advertising side, if you do have questions, you can reach out to Andrea and myself, and we'll share over any resources that we do have. So if you have a brand that's ready to get started or on platform wanting to scale up, just let us know. We will be happy to help.
Very good. And I guess I do have one last question, and it's more on the resource side. So you have talked about the Help Center, and we've talked about a bunch of different resources. Is there just an area where people can go and find everything?
Good question. I would start with the TikTok for Business site. And then from there, you should be able to navigate. And a lot of the time, you can just type things into Google and try and track them down. But I would start with TikTok for Business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it links out to a bunch of resources, whether it's blog posts, case studies, the Help Center. So it's probably the best starting point.
Fantastic. All right. Well, This is your last chance to register for the big prize today, and that is talking to is Andrea going to be doing the call?
They get to hang out with me, and that in
All
itself is
right.
a prize.
There you go. It's priceless. So what I think is awesome is that you're offering that, and we've never had the opportunity to have anybody from the actual platform come on and have the call. So anybody interested in talking with Andrea, if you win the prize, not for everybody, if you win the prize, then you get to spend that time and just go through everything with her. So hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get a second entry. I think that's it. Any contact information? If somebody wanted to get information about anything we talked about today, where should they go to?
You can find us on LinkedIn if you want to reach out to us. We can see how we can help.
Fantastic. All right, Kels. So I guess it's that time. Do you want to hit the last sponsor? Launching products isn't like it used to be. To successfully launch your product, you need to hit that algorithm from all sides. Driving external sales, boosting social signals, and increasing product listing engagement are fundamental to success. Rebate is the first and only launch platform that delivers across this broad range. Get your product featured on Amazon.live through Rebate's influencer program. With this service, your product gets instant exposure to large audiences of shoppers and permanent placement on Amazon Influencer Storefront, which drives perpetual sales. Run a sweepstakes campaign on Rebate and connect with shoppers off Amazon. And lastly, drive external sales with tried and true deals campaigns. Visit rebate.com today and get started with your 14-day free trial. You know what? I lied. I got one last question. It's a hashtag question. This is, I get this all the time as well, but how do you use hashtags effectively?
I recommend 2 to 3 very relevant hashtags. So yeah, don't try and pick out an irrelevant hashtag trying to go viral. The system, again, is trying to figure out who to serve this content to at the right time. So help it with that. Yeah, so very relevant hashtags. If you go into the Creative Center, we love the Creative Center. We actually have a tool where you can see top trending hashtags by category as well. So I went into I was in apparel today. So I just went into the apparel category on the Creative Center, and the top 3 were spring, get ready with me, and one more, I can't remember. But if I was an advertiser, I would today make a spring get ready with me outfit and hashtag those 2 things along with the third, whatever the heck it was. Oh, small business, even better. Small business. So I would hashtag those 3 things and make content along with that. So trending hashtags can help to decide the content that you're making, but you can also go into that trending and see which ones you should be adding into your content. That makes sense.
That's fantastic. Great. I'm glad I got that one in. All right, Kels, where are you?
All right. Andrea, Lindsey, do you have a cutoff time? We never talked about that. We just have a few more minutes, but if you have to get going, we don't want to hold you up or anything.
No worries.
I'm okay.
I'm good to stay. Yeah.
Perfect. So you get to
all right. So we got another 20 questions. But,
all
right. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, here is the Wheel of Kelsey. Enjoy.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for entering the Wheel of Kelsey. We're going to shuffle these up. If you're new to the podcast, we do this every single episode. So make sure you come back for the next one if you aren't the winner. And let's see. If you are the winner, please email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com.
Oh, Faye.
Faye
nice.
is the winner.
Faye, you got a great Wheel of Kelsey today. So congrats.
So Faye, you know what to
Faye.
do. Just email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, and we'll hook you up with the one-on-one. So thank you again for everyone who entered, and that's it.
Tracey, Andrea, this was awesome. I'm so happy you were able to come on to the podcast today.
This was
All right,
a lot of fun.
That was great.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
I learned a lot. I'm sure everybody else did. And all right, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast half as much as I enjoyed talking to these two ladies from TikTok. So if you have, what was I going to say? Now, what am I going to say, Kels? It's the end of the podcast. I
We've
went
done
through
this.
pretty much with no bloopers, except for Andrea's name. What am
We've
I
done
supposed
Di
to say?
Domizio, by the way.
Almost 400 episodes later, and we can't close it out still. But
No,
it's
no.
a process.
Boom, boom.
It's authentic. It's TikTok.
It's very authentic. This is a perfect
Yeah,
TikTok
exactly.
moment. but anyways, thank you for coming on to the show today. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. Now, what I would normally say is, Kelsey, all right, what do you have to say?
All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye to Andrea and Lindsey first. Thank you again. I dropped the comments. So thank you for coming onto the podcast. If you want to stick around until after the podcast, we'll bring you on afterwards just to talk how it went. But in the meantime, we'll say goodbye now. And thank you again for joining. And
Thank
we'll
you.
close it off. If you are interested in their LinkedIn, I put it down in the comments section here. Check it out. And also drop the TikTok for Business and TikTok Creative Center links as well. So check those out. Faye, make sure you email me. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you smash those like buttons. Give us a thumbs up. And yeah, we're extremely lucky to have Andrea and Lindsey on today. So thank you again for joining us. And if you have any questions about TikTok, I know we didn't get to too many questions from the audience, but if you want to go over, ask in our Facebook group, I'm sure we have a bunch of experts in there. Let us know over there. And I think that's it on my side.
Okay. All right. So now let's see if I can get through these next two sentences. Thank you for joining us today. And we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And like I say at the end of every podcast, we could never do this without our awesome community. If you're not part of the awesome community, go over to our Facebook group, and that's Lunch with Norm, the eCommerce and FBA Collective. And we've got a fantastic, highly engaged group over there. So thank you, and we will see you on Friday. Want more great information? Don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. Also, if you want to check out our latest podcasts, click over here.
Lunch with Norm.